What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome to my first impression and analysis of the Ninja banner that we have this year that features a lot of Wyvern riders. So the first unit we have is Ninja Camilla, and this time she is a red mage flyer. Now we do have a Drift Camilla in that class type, but this Camilla completely plays differently. So she's got Flowery Scroll as her preferred weapon, and this is going to be an 8 might dual phase brave weapon, which is extremely good. And this does give her -1 special cooldown, and she can get the brave hits even in the enemy phase. And in the enemy phase, if she's got more resistance than the opponent, then she can get Vantage. So this is what makes Ninja Camilla threatening in my opinion, because she's a magical unit who's going to be having pretty high attack stat and pretty high resistance. So if you do not have Water Sweep or Hardy Bearing and you lose the resistance check, then she can be a big annoyance, especially if you do not have high magical bulk. And having -1 special cooldown means that Glimmer becomes a one-turn special, so not only she can get that brave hit in the Vantage, but she can also trigger her special on the brave hit itself. And if you run her with Worldbreaker Thor, then you can even just run Iceberg and retaliate back with Icebergs, so that is going to be very powerful with her high resistance. And instantly I see Camilla with this kind of weapon, and I think that she's definitely going to be a meta unit in Aether Raids Chaos and also in Summoner Duels. Especially in Summoner Duels, I think we're going to be seeing more Hardy Bearing, because she could checkmate units if you do not have Water Sweep, Fire Sweep, or like Hardy Bearing Sacred Seal. Because like she has the brave hit, she can simply kill your units. And a lot of physical units like Brave Seller, for example, who does have a miracle in his weapon, is going to be having low resistance. So Camilla's first attack just will bring him at 1 HP, and then she can kill him with the brave hit. So Camilla is a pretty strong unit overall because of this weapon, and even though like she's not the harmonic or the duo unit, I think she's still really solid. And I can definitely see her being used quite a lot in Summoner Duels, especially Summoner Duels S, because there the Vantage playstyle has kind of died down overall, as Shadows of Valentia Pala is not really all that common with Vantage. Most top players use her with hit and run, so that even against Canto Control you can retreat. So Camilla does come in as a pretty dominant Vantage unit there with this kind of weapon, where you can just run some other slot B skill, and she definitely comes with a good slot B skill, which I'll discuss. She also has Glimmer and Close Salvo. So Close Salvo is pretty good for taking on the melee matchups. You can also run Close Reversal or Close Foil if you want to, but Close Salvo does give you that +5 attack in both phases and also the close counter effect, so it's definitely pretty good. And then for her slot B, she has got Seal Resistance 4. And I didn't think there would come a day where seal skills would actually become good, because seal skills have been dead on arrival ever since the launch in 2017. Like even in those days, without any kind of skill inheritance, seal skills were not really all that good. But they have definitely made these seal skills a bit better. And slot B is pretty competitive on the infantry units with Bulwark skill, Null Follow-Up, and other, options that you can run. But for flyers, I think this is going to be a pretty good option. So let's break down Seal Resistance 4. So first of all, it gives you -4 debuff in combat on foe no matter what. And if any kind of visible penalty is present on the foe, then you also get the guard effect. And after the combat, you can inflict -7 resistance debuff on the opponent throughout their next action. So those are the simple parts about the skill. The secondary effect might seem a bit confusing, so I'm going to try my best to explain it. So for it, you need to make sure that the foe does not have any kind of skill that can neutralize their debuffs on those stats. That is the baseline to activate the secondary condition. And if they don't have any of those skills, then it pretty much takes the 7 number and subtracts any kind of visible penalty on them that is present at that moment in that stat. So for example, if I use Plumeria and I debuff the foe's resistance by 3, then I'm only going to be getting extra 4 debuff from this secondary condition, because it is going to be getting subtracted by 7. So in the best case scenario where the foe does not have debuff neutralization skills or has no debuff and resistance, you can pretty much get -7 debuff from the secondary condition, and no matter what, you're going to be getting the -4 debuff from the first condition. So in a way, you can try and get -11 debuffs on the opponent, either through full in combat debuffs or by inflicting the -7 debuff after the combat. So I hope that it clarifies a bit. The biggest thing out of the seal skill is that you can make your resistance checks much better. For example, Camilla here, or Duo Duma. And it also provides you the guard effect if there's any kind of penalty on the opponent. So getting the guard effect is definitely pretty nice for these ranged flyers and flying units in general, because the guard threshold is so annoying. And if you want to get guard, then you pretty much have to run the stand skill, so then you will not have anything for the player phase. So in that sense, seal skills can be useful on these flyers especially. I'll definitely make a different video about seal resistance 4 and seal defense 4. I think these are pretty nice skills for flyers especially, and can be useful on certain units and certain playstyles. So with this, she's basically able to get a lot of resistance debuff in the combat and also the guard effect, and the in-combat debuffs are going to be further increased by the hold skill that she comes with. So overall, Camilla looks like a pretty strong and unique unit with that Vantage inner weapon that depends on the resistance check. So when it comes to her stats, I think she's going to be having a pretty high attack stat at base 43. Probably an attack super boon or resistance super boon. And with this kind of weapon, because you get +5 defense and resistance, it is much better to, meet the resistance check. If she's not killing something in like 2 hits, then she's probably dead, because she's gonna get doubled and her HP is not really all that high. So Camilla is definitely a pretty nice one, and this kind of dual phase brave weapon is pretty much for the slow units, as it gives you extra defense and resistance at the cost of your speed. So yeah, that is the first unit, and now let's move on to the units which I've been looking forward to the most, and she has not got an alt in so many years. So I'm a big fan of Cherche, and she is here as an axe flyer. And yeah, when it comes to the pronunciation, I definitely ask a lot of people's opinion, and Cherche is the most accurate one I got. So yeah, she has got Wyvern Ono, which gives you +5 defense and resistance for the penalty of -8 speed, and also has the dual phase brave effect. Now that is standard for this kind of banner, but the thing which makes her unique is definitely the fact that she can get true damage based on 20% of her resistance, and she also has flat damage reduction based on 20% of her defense. So this kind of flat damage reduction, or true damage reduction rather, we have seen this on Asker, Spring Maria, on Brave Dimitri, and even on Haar's Weapon Refine. So yeah, I think Cherche definitely makes Haar's Weapon Refine a bit less unique, because at least like Haar had this kind of brave weapon with this kind of flat damage reduction, but that's not unique anymore, and Cherche is simply going to be having a lot higher attack than Haar with this kind of alt for sure. And she does come with the Ignis, attack defense Neotrace, and also attack defense hold. So attack defense hold is going to be a pretty nice skill that you can run on many units like Ashnard, for example, to just stack up the in-combat debuffs and extend your range. So yeah, Cherche is going to be having, I think, like base 44 attack, as I speculated from this combat. And for her defense, she definitely has like base 44 defense, I feel like. So definitely pretty bulky flyer and also hard hitting with this kind of dual phase brave weapon. She can work as a Vantage unit, but even just as a physical tank, she's going to be doing a pretty fine job with that true damage reduction and with this kind of high defense. And the true damage that she gets is definitely pretty good with this kind of brave weapon, as she's going to be able to kill a lot of units in like just 2 hits. So yeah, pretty happy about Cherche finally getting an alt, because she's one of my favorite awakening characters, if not the favorite one. And then we have the 4-star focus unit of this banner. So it is going to be a flying colorless archer in Heath. So yeah, this trend is again the same weapon with dual phase brave weapon that gives you extra defense and resistance at cost of speed. So it is inheritable, and keep in mind that its might is only 6, so it has got very low might. So only use this weapon on units that actually have high attack stat. Otherwise, it is just going to be the meme of 0 × 2 because this weapon does not have very high might. So yeah, I think Plagian Raphael could definitely make use of this and be like a range Arden. So that is going to be pretty fun for many of the high attacking and like high defense units. This is definitely a defensive bow option compared to Ninja Yumi that we have seen. And he does come with Bonfire, attack defense catch 3, which is not really all that unique. We do have that on Geralt and also on Sedgar. And Pulse Smoke is definitely unique on a D mode, because Pulse Smoke is a really good skill when pre-charging specials has become so easy with like Duo Crom, with Asker, and with so many of the other skills. So Pulse Smoke is gonna be a very valuable skill, especially for like something like Summoner Duels, where Hardy Fighter armors are gonna be quite common. So pretty good skill on a demote, and I do think that he's going to be having stat spread similar to what Cherche had, because all of these units are just slow, high attacking, and high defense. So at least he's going to be having base 40 defense, I think, from the bonfire damage that he does here, and gets like 91 damage. So if you're a big fan of Heath, then he can definitely be a unit you can try and plus and merge, as he's the 4-star focus. And then we arrive at the start of this banner, Duo Laegjarn. Honestly didn't think this would happen, and she's here with Fjorm. Laegjarn is also one of my favorite OCs, and she's here as a blue flying archer. So we did receive Summer Lynn with her weapon refine recently, but Laegjarn plays a lot differently, being such a slow unit and also having much higher attack than Summer Lynn. So she's got Flame Frost Bow as her preferred weapon. This has got 8 might, and this does give you -1 special cooldown. So Moonbow becomes a 1-turn special, Deadeye becomes a 2-turn special, so that is also pretty good. And you can even run Bonfire on her with the kind of defense that she has got. So again, dual face ray weapon here with +5 defense and resistance at the cost of -8 speed. And then she's got the trademark Laegjarn effect, where she punishes the opponent if they have any kind of visible buff. So with this weapon, you're able to get extra attack, defense, and resistance in combat depending on 70% of the highest value among the total bonuses of the opponent and the allies that are within 2 spaces of her. So that definitely makes it pretty interesting. So you do have 2 options here, either to buff up your own units to get this effect, or to depend on foes' buffs, and depending on foes' buffs is not always that good. So this weapon is definitely going to be needing you to be near your allies to function consistently, so that you can get the extra attack, defense, and resistance. And then she's got Moonbow, attack resistance catch 4, which is perfect because she can have good matchup against Duoduma, and she can try and win the resistance check so that he doesn't get the decharging with his weapon. She also comes with Seal Defense 4, and we have already seen the resistance version of this skill, so the only thing that is different is the defense debuff, and I did explain this before. So no matter what, you're going to be getting the -4 debuff on the opponent, the guard effect if any kind of penalty is present on them, and then you inflict them with the -7 defense debuff after the combat. And depending on if they have a debuff neutralization skill on their defense or not, you can get even more debuffs in the combat. Now keep in mind that just because you have attack speed unity does not mean that Seal Defense is not going to be giving you those extra debuffs. You pretty much need the debuff neutralization skill for that stat. For example, like attack defense unity, or like attack defense clash, or like Slick Fighter, for example. So something like that pretty much can stop the secondary effect. And then she has got Attack Smoke 4, which can provide her with the follow-up negation because she's extremely slow, and she is going to be able to get the extra defenses as well. So she's going to be a pretty unique unit because of being such a slow flying archer. And when you're such a slow flying archer, you are going to be having that weakness to the archers, obviously, and you don't really have Eye of Shield built into your weapon. So many times Sacred Seal of Eye of Shield is going to be needed. And we can see her stats over here. I have the base stats on the side as well. So she's got extremely high base attack at base 44, and also pretty good balanced mixed bulk. And she has the same skill as Ninja Lin and Ninja Corin, so this can refresh Laegjarn if she has entered into the combat already. So this kind of self-refreshing skill is going to be pretty nice, especially for summoner duels, where you can freely spam the duo skills and harmonize skills. And the big difference with Ninja Lin, Ninja Corin, and Laegjarn is that Laegjarn actually has the bulk to survive in the enemy phase. So she may go in, kill an opponent, and actually live with her bulk, and then trigger her duo skill and then just kill someone else. So that can definitely happen, but keep in mind that the duo skill is actually going to be taking an action in summoner duels. So you're not going to be able to act immediately after. You will have to, have another action left so that you can attack again. And this skill is also useful in Aether Raids offense, but she cannot really have disarm trap like Ninja Lin, or she cannot really have the mobility of Ninja Corin, but still she's going to be having an easier time triggering Deadeye on the Brave hit if she gets some support and the foe does not have a guard skill. The lack of null guard is definitely going to be a bit annoying for Laegjarn, because even if she wins the resistance check against Duoduma, at the end of the day, a lot of Dumas do run Mirror Stance 3, which can give you the guard. So Laegjarn might not be able to trigger the Deadeye against Duma if he's running that skill, and if he's running like Deflect Missile, then he's going to be getting that damage reduction. But still, compared to a lot of the other units, she's going to be having much better chances against Duoduma, which is like a top 3 far save unit in my opinion. and she can also not really take that much damage even if he's like running distant counter, because she does have pretty good balanced mixed bulk. So overall, Laegjarn is a pretty strong unit in the player phase because of her duo skill with the brave hit, and the fact that she can trigger special on her second hit, and also in the enemy phase because this is a dual phase brave weapon. Attack Smoke 4 is good, but it could definitely be replaced with like Attack Resistance Oath 4 from Marvel, and I think a lot of high spending players are probably going to be doing that so that she can get the teleportation and also the extra attack and resistance to meet the resistance check against Duma. This banner is going to be accompanied by Tempest Trial Plus, and we do have Ninja Haar as our free unit. He's a sword flyer with Wyvern Katana Plus, which is a dual phase brave weapon, just like Ninja Heath, and he does get the extra bulk with that. So pretty much any kind of like sword unit can try and become Arden. Of course, you're not going to be getting the guard effect because Arden does have that in his weapon refine, but still the dual phase brave weapon is definitely pretty nice for like high attack and like high defense units like Skahak, for example. So sword units have got some pretty nice options now with Arcane Luthnir, with Wyvern Katana Plus. So it is honestly a pretty hype thing, and you can also get speed defense catch 3 and chill defense resistance 2 as the sacred seals. So not exactly the null follow-up of the last month, but still I guess useful with the cat skill. And Haar's base kit is not really all that impressive in terms of fodder. He does have attack defense form, but I mean we already have 4-star Karen with that skill. Attack defense oath is already present on Kamui and Kaiza, so it's not exactly a new skill. His weapon is definitely going to be the main fodder here, and I hope that he can have a pretty good stat spread. This banner is going to be lasting for an entire month, so you definitely have the time, and it will be interesting if we get an Arcane Bow this month because like we have seen Flame Tribe Rinka, and then follow up to that we got Arcane Luthnir, and then last month we had Halloween Naga who had no preferred weapon and she was the 4-star focus, and then we got Arcane Grima as the Arcane Breath. So Heath this month is a bow unit, so I wonder if we're going to be getting an Arcane Bow this month for the second banner, so definitely watch out for that before investing heavily into Heath or any kind of bow unit, because I'm really curious if that's the pattern they are going for monetizing these 4-star focuses. Or maybe it was just a coincidence 2 times, but as they say, 3rd time is the charm, and I'm definitely going to be waiting for that. So let me know what you think about this banner in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to leave a like and a comment. Helps me tremendously, and if you really enjoyed it, you could always support me directly using super thanks down below, or by becoming a YouTube member as well. And for more FEH videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as Camilla's Vantage against Hardy Bearing. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.